Is it going?
Is
it live? All right, well, assuming that we're live, hello everybody. Thank you for your patience in sorting all this mess out. I guess a quick note on why I haven't gotten back to you sooner. I've been pretty restless, and I haven't been to the gym in weeks or played sports or done anything outside of the house. And I saw a bunch of people going for a run the other day. And I thought, that's amazing. And it was around noon, and I had to have my AC in my car. It was so hot. And yet, by the time I went on a run, it was 3:41 p.m., and it was freezing. It was around noon. And Thank you. Okay, barring that interruption. Let's see, where was I? Yes, I went on a run in the cold, and I have asthma, so that didn't turn out very well. And then I couldn't talk for 2 days, so my voice is slowly coming back. I've been told that when I speak low over the mic that I sound like Darth Vader, so if anyone needs me to appear at any parties in a mask, feel free to let me know. So, this update, we are going to talk about the coronavirus, we're going to talk about the future of Rooted events, we're going to talk about the Rooted Roundup on Sundays, we're going to talk about the prayer pods, we're going to talk about the Rooted Weekly Workout Challenge, and the Rooted Wednesday mandates, as this is definitely on a Wednesday and not on a Friday when it's actually being recorded. So, week one of the Rooted Mandate 2020, let's talk about the coronavirus. So, I'm sure that all of you have been peppered and sprayed with all sorts of information on the coronavirus. It is basically the only talking point of every conversation that I've entered in the last week and a half. So, what's the big deal about coronavirus right now with the update as of yesterday, which is a complete lockdown in Colorado? The big problem right now is we cannot be meeting other people. And in a group where fellowship and community are two of the three words of our church, that's kind of a problem. So what are we going to do about that? Let's talk about that today. I have an article that I found. I've been reading a lot of different articles on this coronavirus, and I found one that I find to be the most helpful that I've found so far. So I'm going to be posting that. It talks about the difference, the 2 points that I got out of it at least, are the difference between common sense and research. Because right now, at this stage in our world, we need both, and people are kind of landing in either camp. There is a side of camp that says we just need to use common sense. Common sense says wash your hands, don't lick other people's faces, don't touch your eyes, and we're going to be fine and we're going to survive this. Research on the coronavirus, if you've been following the news, has been pretty slim. It's been actually quite hard to be researching this thing as it changes and as it spreads. And scientists have been kind of frustrated about this host family COVID-19 thing. However, there is quite a bit enough research to warrant large concern. We know for a fact that thousands of people are dying. And it's not only people who are 99 and already had pneumonia. So therefore, what do we do about it? We do what the government is telling us, which is to stay put, sit our butts down in our chairs and shelter in place. There are a lot of comments that I've seen on the internet, that I've had directly sent to me, or that I've seen in person about people just being straight up mean to other people for buying up too much toilet paper, overstocking, etc. Is it extremely annoying that people are going out and buying up all the toilet paper? Yes, it is. I did not stand in a line with Sharon at Costco last week for an hour. It wasn't that long. Just to have a toilet paper epidemic. But we need to remember at this time that we have to have grace with people, because if we don't, then we're letting this virus outweigh the love of Christ that we have in our hearts. And from my apparent high horse, that doesn't seem like a great way to reach people. The best thing that I've seen, and my closing point about the coronavirus before we move on, is actually came from a political friend of mine who said that at this time right now in our world, we cannot grasp onto normalcy. At this point where we are, if we try and grasp onto what is normal, our daily lives and routines and everything, then we're just going to make this worse. Nothing about the situation is normal. It's not going to be normal. The next month plus of our lives is not going to be normal. Number one, let's talk about Rooted events in the future. Obviously, you know, Glow Night was already canceled. Our next upcoming events were the Murder Mystery, the Summer Kickoff Barbecue, the Retreat, the Mission Trip, the Sermon on the Mount, and any other end of summer barbecue and anything else we'd be doing. As of right now, everything is on hold. The previous date for actually RSVPing to the murder mystery Wild West dinner that we had was April 10th. And we're not even pretending like we're through the first wave of this thing until April 13th. So that's obviously not going to happen. Murder Mystery is going to be relocated probably to the end of summer because we're not going to have an indoor event during summer when we have so many summer events to pack in. Mission Trip has already been canceled. We were already working on a backup, which was going to be to take a van out to California to do counseling at a Young Life camp, which would have been really fun, but it's not looking like that's going to happen either. Although at this point, all I can say about summer events is we do not know. Until we get to April, May, we won't know what this summer is going to look at. We could be through the woods with this thing. We could be deep in this thing. We just don't know. So at this point, we are holding out hope. We currently have no plan for a retreat. And by that, I mean we cannot have a retreat until all of this is completely cleared. I know that was half of your guys' favorite memory of last year. It was one of the highlights of my, I don't want to say career. And I know it's disappointing. And if we get through this thing by May, we will put the retreats that we've already had planned together and get our venue set. The group photo. For those of you who don't know, it has been my personal mission over the last couple of months to put together a group photo of all of the Rooted family. It means a lot to me. Even if you're not even in Colorado anymore, you mean the world to me. You've been a huge part of my life. And I really just wanted a photo with everybody in it to just have for the rest of my life. Just something that I'm a very sentimental person, so that was something that I was looking forward to. It's not looking like that's going to happen this summer, so it's looking like we are going to try for the Rooted group photo, for the family photo, meaning trying to get everybody in, regardless of state. The plan is to try and attempt that by summer of 2021, which I think is completely reasonable. Luckily, no one has bought any flights yet, and no one of Rooted that I've talked to that was planning on coming out here has taken any action so far. So as far as the future of Rooted events, I don't know. And we will find out as soon as we can. In a month or two, we will find out where we stand with the coronavirus and what events we can plan from there. Luckily, we have all of our plans for the next year for Rooted. So we are set whenever this thing comes back to jump right back into the thicket of things. But we just won't know. So that is the future of Rooted events. If you have any questions about that or anything I talked about in this video, of anything else, I highly recommend just comment it. Do you have a question? You raise your hand. What's your question?
So are we going to have a retreat this year, or is that just postponed?
That's what I just said. We won't know.
We won't know. Okay.
We have no idea.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you have any questions about that or anything else, I don't know how live works. Comment it now, and Sharon behind the camera will see it. I don't know. Comment it later. Text or a group chat. The Rooted group chat is apparently the main form of communication now, so that's probably the best way to do things. And if you're watching this later, feel free to just ask, and we will find out those answers as soon as possible. The number 2 point of today's meeting is the Rooted Roundup. And for those of you who have any better names for this, feel free to let me know, and we will change it immediately. That is the first name that came to my brain, and so it's what we're calling it. We need some form of fellowship, and until this point, we haven't known how bad the virus is going to be spreading, but now we do, and it's time to take action. As you have probably already been exposed to in the rest of your life, online meetings are how the world is existing right now. So, as we are a family, as I say, a Bible study, a young adult group, we literally just went through the relationship series and talked about how interpersonal contact works. We are going to be trying as hard as possible to get us together and get fellowship back. How are we going to do that? Number 1 is going to be a weekly Sunday meeting. The current ideal time would be Sunday morning at around 10:30 a.m., as that is what you are accustomed to. However, if any of you have jobs that prevent you specifically from being there Sunday morning, let us know immediately, and we'll just work out a time where everyone can be there. Luckily, we all seem to have plenty of downtime right now, so that would work out perfectly. So currently, the plan is 10:30 a.m. on Sundays. If we have interest, we can expand to Fridays, but what am I talking about? I'm talking about an online meeting. From what I've heard, Facebook video is out, Skype is out, and apparently Zoom is the #1 world's reigning multi-party chat right now, which I've recently been introduced to. So we are going to attempt to have our weekly meetups on Zoom. I can't imagine how much money they're making right now. So, if you've never used Zoom before, they do have an app and a fairly usable interface. You can also use a computer webcam, whatever it takes for you to get on and us to see your beautiful face, that works. What are we going to be doing at this time? Number 1, some worship. Rockney and I have already been playing some guitar and drum set or piano music. We are going to talk in the next couple of days about how to get that going over video chat, but we'd love to get some worship together as there's not a whole lot of worship going on. Time of prayer. We are at a time right now where our nation needs prayer. We need prayer. It's going to be a time for us to pray for the group, for the country, for the virus, for those affected, for whatever you want to pray about. We're going to have a time of prayer. Possible short lessons on Sunday, as you'll see in the next 2 points. The point of Sunday is not going to be lesson, because that is something that I can record otherwise. However, I think from the comments that I've seen from you guys, it's not a bad idea to have a format where you guys can ask questions. The #1 problem that I have right now with teaching is that lack of interface. So, that being said, a video posted online might depend on the series. We'll see. The Rooted Roundup will be Sundays at 10:30 unless we have to work out another time. That should give you enough time to still wake up and hit the live service of fellowship that Pastor Rick has continually been posting. It should be able to view on the website, which Victoria has sent out to the group chat, and we should probably be able to have that up probably Saturday night every week. So, Sundays around 10:30 a.m. unless that doesn't work for people. Some worship, a time of prayer, and the last big thing, 2-ish minutes, and that is not a cap, as you all know from sharing testimonies. We want to hear about each other's lives. There is no point in just hearing me babble every week for the next month plus, if we're going to be pretending like we're going to have fellowship. Therefore, we're going to open up the floor to 2+-ish minutes for each person to talk about what they're going through, what their week was like. We can do happy crappy. Caleb can come up with a weird intro question for us, or Thomas can stick his finger in a cupcake again. Whatever it takes, we want to hear about each other's weeks. I heard a hilarious idea of doing a show and tell since we're all cooped up in our homes, and I think that is a fantastic idea. So a short time for each person to share. We can ask questions, we can get to know each other's lives, and still somewhat stay connected, so that when we do come out of the fog of this thing, we're not just a totally disconnected society of people who pretend like we're a family together. So, #1, Rooted Events. #2, Rooted Roundup. #3, Prayer Pods. We need some way, and usually in Rooted, we've been having the Wednesday night men's group, we've been having Friday night Moab Bible studies, we've been having Rooted class on Sundays, sitting together in church, getting Red Robin once a month, and all of the other activities that we have together. Without all of that, I personally can attest to the misery. I'm sure you introverts would have a slightly less conjoined time with that. So, Prayer Pods is going to be our answer to the question of how do we still remain communicated day to day without completely solely relying on the Rooted group chat. With no objections, we are going to break everybody that wishes to participate, which I hope is everybody, up randomly into groups of 3 to 4 people. Those are going to be pods of people that are going to be praying for specifically each other. The point of Sundays is going to be to pray for general. If we just had a prayer time on Sundays, it'd probably take a couple hours, which is fine by me, but I know a lot of you guys have schedules. So, the prayer pods are what we are introducing to try and attempt some sort of normalcy, to use one of the most powerful tools that we have at our disposal, which is the Holy Spirit and the power of the Holy Spirit. And we know from Paul's writings and everybody else that we cannot underestimate the power of prayer, especially at a time like this. So, prayer pods are going to be a separate chat. You can either do that over Facebook or text. I know some people have too many text groups, and if you don't want to get too messed up into that, that is fine. We're going to be splitting every one up. I will post the groups. The reason I can do that is because we are literally using a name randomizer. We are going to be trying as best we can, even though it's random, to split up couples, etc. Get to know some new people, pray for some new people you're not already seeing, keep connected, and help each other's lives. At this time, we can be there for each other, hopefully for the entire group, and really to the other 2 or 3 people that are in your group. You can be a light of Christ, whether or not they are going through an absolutely exultant time right now, which is just amazing, or whether or not people are losing their jobs or wondering when the next paycheck is going to come, and we can be there for each other. Prayer pods. Number 4, Rooted Weekly Workout Challenge. Christy Green has agreed to set up a weekly workout challenge. I know a lot of you, meaning all of us, are cooped up in our homes. The point of this is going to be to gather together virtually and complete some sort of not completely extraneous workout challenge. Christy has already sent me a video, which is absolutely hilarious, and we definitely need to do. And one of the suggestions is going to be to film yourself while doing this extremely weird dance routine, which is extremely funny. A point that has been offered up to me is the possibility of doing a weekly live workout thing together, like a Zumba class. Brittany LaPalme, if you are still active on this chat, we need you right now. Otherwise, I've heard the good idea of getting online and doing something all together. But if not, then we can still go out and throughout the week complete some sort of weekly workout challenge. A lot of people are doing it right now. And we can simply have a little challenge. I've heard a great idea, which is whoever gets the most points at the end of this lockdown gets a prize. I'll pick up a $10 Chipotle gift card, and for all of you who complete, I'll probably have to get a bunch of $5 to $10 Chipotle gift cards, because I'm sure most of you are going to end up completing it as I say that out loud. So, with the weekly workout challenge, we'll have some sort of fun sticker system, point system, once Kirsty gets that set up. And yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun. She was the one who introduced me to Zoom, so I'm assuming that all of that is going to be done over Zoom, which will be where we will be having our Sunday get-togethers anyway. I've heard requests from multiple people who really want to also do a Friday night get-together. I'm completely fine with that. I say we start off with Sundays, and if people still have continued interest on Thursday night, Friday night, whatever is not also Sunday morning, just a usual get-together, hop on, say hi to each other, hop off. I see no objections with that, and I am super happy with that. So that is the Rooted Workout Challenge. Last and final thing, number 5, is the Rooted Mandate, is what I'm calling it. But that's basically just every Wednesday, I'm going to try and give you some sort of update. I know all of you have plenty of downtime to get all of your updates on the group epidemic that we are a part of, and I know you don't need my unresearched opinions. However, what I think is just a short update, I love to give out a devotional on Wednesdays. The big problem that I was talking about earlier is all of the lessons that we have coming up right now, which is Friday nights, relationship series, relationship issue series, friendship, Sundays, creation, the reality of health series, which we are only 2 Sundays deep in, the salvation lessons. Ooh, what else do we have? We have a lot of lessons planned. The big problem with all of those is the question has been posed to me, why don't you just do those on video and upload it so that everyone can have that? I think that is a fantastic idea. I do not want to do that with our current series, which is the Reality of Hell series, until I get a giant whiteboard, and possibly not even then, because the problem with that and the Friday night series is that without any sort of group discussion, a Friday night series is just completely wiped out, because I designed those specifically for group discussion. Sunday series, I would not have a problem with that. I am working right now to get some series put together that are not the normal Sunday series that we've been planning. I do not want to do creation series without all of you there. There's just too much to be said out loud to do that. And I don't want to put you guys through a position where we go through one of the most important series that we're ever going to talk about in the entirety of Rooted and have no feedback. So that being said, I'm going to work very hard to get some sort of weekly devotional or possibly even series out where I could send out some sort of student handout that you could print out yourself, a PDF where you could follow along, etc. We already have the Sunday morning service. But I know at this time, we are losing a lot of Jesus. We have more time for personal devotion, which I really hope that we're all really keeping up on. But the problem is we're losing Fridays, we're losing Sundays, and a lot of other things. We have a question.
Christy says, can't we do group discussions via video?
We can do group discussions via video. The problem that we would have doing group discussions via video would only be a problem during the series, like the creation series, which I mentioned. The problem there is not just discussion. The problem is, for that specific series, I also have a PowerPoint that we're going to be going through, in-person examples, and some other things that I want you guys to get your hands on, which is why I love the idea of doing series online together, even where we can have feedback. But if we can't have a PowerPoint running, all the examples that I have and everything else, then I would feel more comfortable just pushing our creation series back a couple months and doing some other series that we were planning on doing later this year now, which would not need any sort of PowerPoint. It would not need an abundance of whiteboard, which I don't have, and we could just have it like any other normal Rooted series. The list that I have from when we talked about 2 months ago of series that you guys, or topics that you guys wanted to hear more about, was really awesome. One of the big things that you guys all said is that you wanted some sort of exegetical study. Right now, I have been putting together for about 6 months now a full exegetical study, which is kind of an introduction to deep exegetical studies. Exegetical is just a fancy white person word for saying to study something verse by verse, piece by piece, to not gloss over anything, to really go through what a lot of pastors do, which is just go through the Bible verse by verse. And really, you may not even get through a chapter in a week, depending on what you're talking about lesson time-wise. Acts would be another good example. We've been talking about Acts chapter 2 in our relationship series, and we've talked a lot about the gospel and the gospel truth, and if we could transition over to talking about maybe not a full verse by verse to not take, the next 6 years of your life, but to go through chapter by chapter of a book like Acts would be a great devotional series. For those of you who would want to join in on that, I do not have to simply record a video on Wednesday. In fact, it doesn't even have to be a live video. As Christy introduced me to Zoom, I'm pretty sure we could just have these Wednesdays on Zoom. We have another question.
Christy says Zoom and Google Meet have screen sharing abilities that will...
I have seen the screen sharing abilities, and they're very good. They parcel out everyone's faces very evenly. No one seems to be covered up, and you can hear everyone equally, well, providing not everyone is talking at the same time. Christy, my only question would be, have you had any experiences with Google Hangouts that is better than Zoom? Because otherwise, I'm pretty sure we would just end up sticking to Zoom.
Zoom is better. We tried both with my classes.
Okay, perfect. Well, then, starting next Wednesday, we can also have those over Zoom. I am also working on getting these nice expensive microphones eventually synced up. That will probably be a bit, as we're going to have to get those synced up to a crappy phone camera. I apologize currently for the audio that you're hearing from my heater right over there and all of that feedback. I know there are plug-in phone microphones that I'm probably going to be purchasing so that you can at least hear what I'm saying as I get my voice back. So far, future of Rooted events canceled for the foreseeable future. Hopefully we'll be back during summer with as many events as possible, minus a missions trip, because that's going to be very difficult. Rooted Roundup, Sundays around 10:30 a.m. Everyone get together on Zoom. Hopefully screen share about each other's lives, pray, worship, have some sort of fellowship together. Possibly some sort of short devotional there. Prayer pods, everyone randomly split up into groups of 3 or 4. Get together, pray together, talk throughout the week.
They say they can hear you really well.
Oh, really well? Oh, all right. Well, that's extremely good to me, because then I don't have to buy an expensive microphone. Well, if you can hear me very well, then I'm very happy about that. prayer pods, shared requests. Another great idea I heard was a weekly question for everybody.
Christy says that Haiti has been hit with COVID-19.
Haiti survived a long time with not a single case of the coronavirus. Haiti was doing fantastic. Holly was giving us updates a lot. If anyone knows, please comment it. I have no idea what happened or how coronavirus suddenly spread there. I'm assuming it was someone flying home. But yes, Haiti has been struck with coronavirus. Holly does not have any personal experiences so far that I've heard. But it is looking like there's not a lot of places around the world that are going to be safe from this thing. Yeah, Haiti was hit. I think it'd be very good to set up some prayer for Haiti at this time. They are a very small, secluded half of their island down there with the Dominican Republic. And even though they have a strict border, they have a lot less governmental order than we do here. I mean, they literally just have less paved streets and traffic lights and enforcement of things and normalcy. So it's going to be very hard for them to survive normally if it gets to a full outbreak over in Haiti. If anyone knows, let me know what the actual count is over in Haiti. But regardless of if it's 1 or 1,000, I think they could use our prayers like the rest of the world. And finally, the Rooted Mandates on Wednesday. Hopefully with a devotional, possibly with an entire lesson. I think that'd be a very good idea. I know if your name is not Joshua or Angelica that you were not... and Christy was awesome about it too. That you were not thrilled about the last time we did a group Bible reading plan. But for those who wish to participate, we're also probably going to have some sort of conjoined Bible reading plan along with a devotional or a lesson, aka read through the book of Acts and each week read through a chapter 1, 2, or 3 times, as that is what a lot of pastors do to really have it try and sink into you. I'm going to start reading my closing remarks. If you have any other questions or comments, let me know now, and she will yell them back at me. That is loud. Closing. I miss you guys a lot. These last few weeks have absolutely sucked. I never realized how much of just, purpose that I get out of being able to spread God's word. And even though the internet, we have, like Rachel commented on the group chat, we are very, very blessed to have the technology to still keep all of us together, and that's wonderful. But even with that, it is... it's hard not to be able to see the people that I say that I care about so much. I don't get to really interact with you guys face to face, and there's just a lot that I do miss, and I do miss out on, and I really cannot wait for this thing to be over. But while we're in this thing together, we can at least do what we can to make sure that we're not giving up, that we are continuing to show God's glory as best we can. It's funny, David Chadwick has been talking to me about a book he's been reading that talks a lot about evangelism. And the question is, how do we properly evangelize during this time? I'd love to hear your guys' stories about that. I've been playing a Call of Duty game on Xbox Live with a couple of people, and it's been awesome to be able to keep up with their lives and to let them know that I'm praying for them. And regardless of them being believers or not, they've been responsive, and it's just cool to see that no matter what, God's not going to stop working during this time. What else do I have closing? If there's any sacrifice that we cannot let during this time, it is our personal relationship with God. I've heard a lot of comments from people saying, even though we have all of this time now, there are a lot of people that are still struggling to actually get their daily devotionals done. This is a time where if we skimp on this, I don't know if you guys can actually see my Bible, but if we do skimp on this, that coming out of this personally, we are going to be at a disadvantage. And we do have a great opportunity to plant some seeds in ourselves, in our hearts, let God work in us and through us. And develop us, nurture us, and really Colossians 2:6-7 this thing. So God has provided the technology for us to get through this together. We will. I cannot wait to hear your guys' ideas. So far, week to week, what I hear is Wednesday nights, Sunday mornings, prayer pods, and a workout challenge. And as we get closer to figuring out the end of this thing, we will figure it out. And we will continue to lean on the Lord for any other bouts of wisdom that he has to pour on us. Thank you all for your patience in waiting 48 hours on me to actually post this video. For anyone who, during this time, I guess my final comment would be, if you know of anyone that does not have a lot of family in the state, that does not have an abundance of friends, this is the time to reach out to them hard. I've already talked to a few people who said that this epidemic, being introverts, was amazing for 2 days, and now they feel alone and miserable. And just reaching out to the people in your lives, especially those people who you don't talk to as much and aren't believers. And I mean, we can really make a big impact in people's lives. And I cannot imagine that depression is going down right now during this time. So now is a time where we can really step up and reach out to the web of people that we have in our lives and try and make a difference together. If you have any questions or anything else, please free to let me know. Apart from that, I will see you guys on Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. on Zoom. All of the information will be on the Rooted group chat. If you are not on the Rooted group chat, you're probably not on Facebook, which means you're probably not watching this video. But still, I will be texting it out to the Rooted group text anyways, for those of you who are on that service. I miss you all a lot. I love you guys. I'll be praying for you, and let's get through this thing together.